Hi, and welcome to Foxys Den again. Well, I thought it's about time I started doing another video. As I say, I've been neglecting that a little bit. But as you can see on the bench today, we've got that Ultra amplifier again, and I thought we'd just have another little look at it, and perhaps might start to do a little something with it. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember where I got to last time, but. Yeah, my memory's not very good. I envy the goldfish, I do. I just wish I had the memory of a goldfish, because my memory's terrible. Anyway, as I say, we'll just move this cup out the way there. By the way, if you've been looking at that, this is my, yes, this is my solder sucker. Yeah, I know a lot of you don't seem to like these ones, but as I say, it does have its uses. That's my little addition to it by putting that little thing on the end of it there to just to prevent burning and melting the nozzle. Although the nozzle does survive that type of punishment, but as I said, I do use it, and I do have another one somewhere. It's in in the drawer somewhere. Right, yeah. Well, as I say, we'll have another little look at this. As I say, you can see it's in quite poor condition, really. It's a bit battered and what have you. Sorry about the lighting and the bit of glare that I'm getting from the corner there. As I said, that's the neighbours about 3 doors down trying to blind me with their solar panel, which is nice of them. And a little bit later on, when the sun starts to set, the house across the road from me, which has been painted white, as I said, that'll be trying to blind me as well. Can't win. But there we are. As I said, we've just gone and have a little look at the back of this now, shall we? Right, here we go. There's the back of it. I've already taken the back off. If you may remember in the last video I did with this particular amplifier, you might remember that the back panel had been modified a little bit. And as I say, this is the back panel for it, and you can see the modification here, which is not exactly very expertly done, is it? Quite why they couldn't have done it further down here, but as I say, they've decided to make a real hatchet job of that, and it's not hard stuff to cut through. As I say, you could have put a screwdriver through that and reamed out the hole with a pair of scissors and made just as neat a job. But unfortunately, yeah, as I say, it's a real mess. But I'm not really going to restore this. I think it's a bit too. Although it's not that far gone, I could probably restore it if I wanted to, really. But considering it's been modified and I want to use it for another purpose, I want to use this as a signal tracer, and because it's quite handy, it's got a nice, decent sized speaker in it, so it does sound quite good. So at least I'll be able to check the audio quality of anything that I'm playing through it and what have you. So yeah. Right, well, as I say, that's the back for it, which I'll just put over here for the moment. And we'll just have a little look at the switches, well, the switch and the socket that I pulled off the back of it. Now, this is a very unusual connector. I've never actually seen one of these before anywhere. I've absolutely no idea what it is. It does look a little bit like the 2-pin DIN plug, but it seems to have a small flat blade and a large flat blade. And of course it doesn't fit a DIN 2-pin socket. There's probably a matching socket to go with that, but as I say, that's the one that was on the back of it. So as I say, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. It's probably going to go in the spares box along with all the other bits and pieces. So in there it goes. Now here we have the little switch here, which is 250 volt AC at 2 amps, which is more than adequate for what it was used for. Look at that. I don't know whether you can see that or not. Painting, England. Nice to see made in England or England on an electronic component or or anything that's been made. Well, there you go. As I say, you don't see it very often now, but I do when I look at my bits and pieces, because I've got loads of old things which has got made in England on them, so I'm quite happy about that. So that goes into the little tray. If you're wondering about the tray, it's one of these. Now, I find these extremely useful. As I said, this used to have some very nice slices of chicken, and rather than throw it away, I've been using these in the kitchen. Actually, I just leave them on the work surface, and I put a cup on it, or put a spoon on it, or anything like that, and eventually it gets grubby and dirty and whatever, and yeah, then I just throw it in the bin. But and get myself another one. But I find them quite useful in the workshop as well, because, as I say, you can put all the bits and pieces in there, and it's not like putting it into a mug or a cup or whatever, because as you reach over to get something, as I say, it's quite easy that you can knock this cup or container over, and everything all spills out, and it all rolls off the table and disappears down a black hole, which is where all electronic components go, such as nuts, bolts, screws, washers, anything that's important. The more important it is, the more likely it is to disappear down a black hole, never to be seen again. But here we are. I'm rabbiting on here a little bit, aren't I? Yeah. Oh, yes, the screwdriver. Yes, this is my favourite screwdriver. It does rather large, chunky bit. And it is important to get the right size screwdriver to fit the screws, and as I said, this one seems to fit this one perfectly. So that one goes in there. That comes out as well. Put that over there. I don't know if you can hear my fan running at the moment, because I've got to have a fan running in here, because it is pretty warm in here at the moment. I mean, it has been for the past couple of weeks or so. But here we go. As I say, we'll just, there we go. That's that out of the way for the moment. Now you can see that there are going to be a few things that are going to be in the way, so I think we may just have a little look in here. You can see that we've got some capacitors in here, which I shall have to test. Unfortunately, I can't read the values on most of these, but I've been looking up on the other one that I had, and this uses a very similar amplifier, so I'm guessing that they're probably round about the same sort of values. Right, and this one here at the end here is the main output capacitor for the audio amplifier, which is the one that's connected to the speaker, which I've disconnected for the moment. So we're going to check some of these capacitors on here, and we'll see what sort of readings we've got from these. I did actually power this up quite some time ago, and indeed it did make a few amplifier noises, but it was pretty much distorted, and it didn't seem to work too well. So I know you like everybody to replace capacitors, but I'm not really that keen on replacing absolutely everything unless it's absolutely necessary. But we'll have a go and see what there is to be done there. I've got my trusty old Weller iron here, and we'll just see whether we can just desolder that. There we are. That's that come off. Right, I have my glasses here somewhere, so I better put those on, otherwise nobody will see anything. Yeah, right. Well, as we can see, there's well, this lead here at the back here, that leads to the power on-off indicator, which is just a neon. It's been shoved into its little housing there. So perhaps if we just move that little solder tag there we go, we can take that out. That gives us a little bit more room. Yeah, let's see. So that's the mains cable. I'll just shove that out of the way. Right, we've also got, yeah, we've got these here on the transformer. Well, I shall have to make a note of which way around this is go. I know it doesn't matter, but I do like to have it put back exactly the way it was. So we'll just desolder that one, and we'll desolder this one as well. Somebody's been a bit heavy-handed with the solder on there. Yeah, I think we'll just get the old solder sucker and we'll see if we can remove that. I don't know whether you can see this or not, but there. But it's it seems to have got it. Yeah, there we go. That's got that. I'll have to get some new bit for that iron. I've got one somewhere, but there we go. As I said, that's given us a lot more room now, so we can see what we're up to. Right, let's pop that out of the way. Yeah. Now this is the point. You can't always remember exactly where the capacitors were. This is where it comes in handy to actually use a little flashlight on the other side, and so you can actually see what you're looking at. But I can see that yeah, that there is obviously the this one here, which we've been looking at. So we'll just give that one a test, shall we? So we bring out our little tester. I'm sure everybody's got one of these, and if you haven't got one, you should get one. And if you haven't and still haven't got one, as I say, you've got to well, keep asking a relative or a friend to buy you one, get you one for Christmas. So they're one of the most useful tools there is. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem when people bend these things over here, so we'll just pop that on there and we'll have a little look, shall we? 675.07. Well, I'm not quite sure exactly what that should be, but it's gone a little, I should imagine it's gone higher than it should have, but the ESR is good enough for it. Actually, this is probably one I might not actually change. As I say, I'll just have a little look at the actual value as to what we've got on that particular capacitor, and then we'll go from there. So let's just get those off and see what we're supposed to have. It's going to be a bit difficult to actually read that one. Yeah, I think we've got 18 volts. And it looks like it is rather difficult. Yeah, well, you won't be able to see this. If I can't see it, you won't be able to see it. I think it's supposed to be 400 microfarad. So that is a bit high for what it is, but I think it probably won't actually make a great deal of difference. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the one in the that couples the output from the amplifier to the speaker. Now, normally, the higher the value of that, usually the better the bass response is for the that you get from the speaker. But it's usually chosen as I believe it would probably be chosen. This particular value would be to limit the bass response, to try and eliminate some of the rumble which you'd probably get from the turntable itself. So I should imagine that's what the reason why that's got a lower value than normal, because I've seen this capacitor been in this part of the circuit of all kinds of values, even up to 2,000 or 3,000 microfarad. So we may be all right with that one, but I'll probably take it out and test that as well. So test it again, so and see what we have there. Right. Well, we'll go and have a little look and see whether we can We can possibly do these two small ones down here and see whether we can get into those. Yeah, you can see that we've got one there and one here. Let's have a little look and see what we've got here. 7.02, 0.95. Well, that's it is a fairly low value. That's supposed to be in there. I'll just have a little look at my notes that I got here. I noted it down from the other amplifier. That should be 2.2 microfarads. So without actually looking at the actual capacitor itself, which I can't see at the moment, I should imagine that well, this isn't too bad. I don't think it's going to be too far out of tolerance, but as I say, I'll probably will be changing that one. So let's have a little look and see whether we can get to the next one and see what the other one says. If that's going to, yeah, I'll get that onto there. Oh, well, that's not very good. I think that's yeah, I think there's a word for that, but I won't use it here. We'll just turn that off and we'll just try it again, because I think I made two connections at the same time. Yeah, that looks like that capacitor is totally yeah, incapacitated, I would say. So that's one for definitely for removing and replacing with the proper one. Yeah, as to whether I can get to the other ones or not, I don't know. That's those there. They're quite large, aren't they? They're very large and very tall. Oh, I can actually read the value on this one. It's actually 250 microfarads. Hazarding a guess with them both being identical, they're probably both the same. But there's a possibility they might not be. But we'll have a go and see what we can do with them. I think that's these two here. In circuit leaky, ESR 10.4. So they're probably no good either. So that's that one. So we could try the other one, which I think is this one here. Let's see what we got here. In circuit leaky, ESR 0, all the zeros. So it looks as though those both of those capacitors are well and truly knackered. I don't know if you can see that. I'm sure you can. But there you go. So that's where I'm up to at the moment. I'm going to have a look through my drawers of components and see if we can find the correct values for this. I'm sure I will have some somewhere, but I do actually have a tin here. So we've all got tins. As I say, I've got a drawer full of these tins, which I've got. So these have got all kinds of capacitors in, such as these. I'm sure you're all familiar with this particular manufacturer of capacitors. I think we might actually try and test one of these, see whether it is any good or not. But as you can see, it is new old stock. As I do have quite a few new old stock components in here. What we got here? Oh, look at this. Actually got a Russian capacitor in here as well. I think I might have one or two in here. So we might test that as well, or maybe not. I don't know. There's a nice one. Here we go. Sprague, 500 microfarads at 50 volts, made in the USA. Again, that's a new old stock. Yeah, so I think we'll try and test that. See what we get out of that. Oh, there's an old Fraco. Is it a Fraco? No, it's Looks like Electrolytico. I think this is, I think they're made in Brazil, I think. Ooh, can you see that? That does not look very healthy, does it? Let's go and test that one, shall we? We'll test that one first. See what we get out of that. This could be fun. Get the wires out of that. Put that on there. Let's have a look. Oh, it's actually not too bad, really, is it? It's got a nice low ESR, 0.06. What was the value supposed to be? It's supposed to be 1,000 microfarads. So it's not too bad, is it? But definitely not going to be soldering that into any circuit at all. But as I say, it's not a new old stock one. It's obviously been pulled out of something because of the mess that it's in. But yeah, as I say, it's not too bad. So we'll pop that in there with the rest of them. We'll find a home for him eventually. Right, shall we try the try the blue one? Yeah, let's try the blue one. And see what we get here. 11.10 microfarads, 0.82 ESR, and this is a 8 microfarad. It's a little bit out, but it's not too far out. I'm not sure when I shall ever need that, but it's there whenever it's needed. So we'll hang on to that one. Pop that into the tin there. Now we'll have a look at this orange one that we've got here and see what this one has for us. $521, 0.1. And as I say, this is a 500 microfarad, 50 volts. So yeah, that's not too bad. I'm quite happy with that. Quite happy to use that. Well, that's those tested for the moment. Yeah, I've been rabbiting on a little bit, but I was just trying to get my head around some of these things. As I said, there's an awful lot of capacitors in here. I've got yeah. Let's just pop that in there. I do have some other capacitors in here as well, so I'm not short of capacitors at all. There we go. There's a nice drawer full of 220 microfarad at 16 volt. I don't think I'm going to be running out of those anytime soon. I've got a few more here as well, so they'll always come in handy for something. I might at some point actually let you all have a little look in some of my other drawers. Yeah, you can stop sniggering, old people. Yeah, well, as I say, that's about it for the moment. I've been rabbiting on them for quite a bit. I'm still not quite sure exactly where else I was going with this. Yeah. Oh, there was one other little point actually. I was just going to see whether anybody actually knows this at all. I know it's upside down at the moment, but I don't know I can turn that the right way up. But as I say, you can see that there are 4 sockets on here. One marked for radio, tape and pickup, and one seems to be marked for microphone for some reason. I'm not quite sure why anyone would want to plug a microphone into this, but obviously they thought it was necessary. I've also seen this socket as well on the record player itself. Now, I'm familiar with the way this socket actually works. As to what it actually does is because this little amplifier is intended to go with a mono record player to convert it into a stereo one, which of course it'll have a stereo cartridge fitted in the record player, but it'll be wired in mono so that if you did play a stereo record on it, you'd still be able to play it and it would play perfectly well in mono. But if you'd bought one of these amplifiers and plug that into it as well to make it into a stereo one, you would plug it into the socket on the record player and into this one as well, and in the process of plugging the lead into the record player, it would then separate the left and right on the pickup cartridge, converting it back into a stereo cartridge, and it would be feeding the left channel to the record player. So it might be the right channel on the left. I'm not really sure. I'm just going with the fact that I would put the record player on the left and the amplifier on the right, but I could be wrong. It could be the other way around. But as I say, once you plug that in, as I say, it would split the cartridge output into its left and right, and you would feed left to one to the record player amplifier and the right to the to this amplifier, and then you would have stereo. But Quite White's actually got the same socket on the amplifier as it does on the record player, but I'm not really sure exactly how that works, because I would presume that you would plug the pickup from the record player into this one, and it would be plugged into this socket on the record player. So I'm a bit confused as to how this arrangement works. I understand what it's supposed to do, but why it's been done this way. So that's over to you to leave me some comments down in the down below. You know, where you've got to do a bit of work with the old fingers, a bit of typing. Well, there you go. That's it. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching my little video and listening to me waffling on about all kinds of things. So there you go. That's it for now. And as they say, more to come later. Bye-zy daisies.